Ben White has left the England camp in Doha, Qatar. Very unlikely to be returning to the World Cup. Here's the official statement from England that states Ben White has left England's training base and returned home for personal reasons. The Arsenal defender is not expected to return to the squad for the remainder of the tournament. We ask the players' privacy be respected at this moment in time. A very clear message from England, echoed by Arsenal, and of course, the majority of sensible people around the world. But unfortunately, it doesn't stop idiots online. And it's something I'm frustrated about. And it's something I'm angry about. It's something there's certain things you joke about, and there are other times where you've got to read the room. There are times where you've got to use your brain. There are times when you've got to be smart. There are times when you've got to, drop agendas for a moment. Some of the reactions online to Ben White leaving the England camp, for me, are nothing short of scandalous, nothing short of pathetic. Pathetic. And I genuinely mean that. When a player leaves a World Cup squad or is absent from a game and the club tell you that it is for personal reasons, please respect the privacy. First thing is, don't start making up theories. Don't start suggesting you know what it is. Secondly, don't banter the guy. Because in all likelihood, if it was an injury, if he'd done his hamstring, broken a bone, was suffering with concussion, they'd tell us why. The fact that it's personal reasons makes the probability of this being a very emotive and potentially painful experience that Ben White personally or a family member is going through highly likely. Illness, somebody's passed. You know exactly what I'm referring to without saying it. And I don't even want to put those suggestions out there, but I feel like I've seen it from some people on the stream last night in the Terrace community, and it embarrassed me. It embarrassed me to see that type of behavior. Legitimately embarrassing to see. You don't know what it is. It isn't going to be something frivolous. It isn't going to be something small. It isn't going to be a stub toe or a paper cut or a slightly pulled muscle. It's very likely to be something that's serious. Now, we may never find out what it is. If it's about Ben White personally, something that's wrong with him, of course the footballing world will find out. If it's about something private within his family sphere, we may never know. And we have no right to know about that because that's a personal, private life of another human being. And it's never your business. But to joke about it is not only insensitive, pathetic, and stupid, but it can also make you look an idiot. If in a day or two's time, a week's time, a month's time, it's revealed that there's a real serious problem for him or somebody within his family unit, you're going to look a complete and utter moron. So shut your mouth. Legitimately shut your mouth. Stop making jokes about it. Stop being a baby. Stop looking for the dopamine release in your brain to get a little bit of traction. Whether it's good interactions or you being attacked online, you just want the attention. Stop it. Because you're absolutely a disgrace. Juventus could be in big financial trouble. Babs here says 5 million for Vlahovic and Locatelli. Take it or leave it, Juve. There's a lot of Arsenal fans talking about maybe Vlahovic, maybe Locatelli, with everything going on right now at Juve. They are in financial bits. I mean, there's talks about Peditici. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I've heard it pronounced about 35 different ways, to be fair. He might be getting sacked. He might be getting arrested. Arrested for whatever it is that he's been up to in this world. Legit, he could be getting arrested. Juve could be getting relegated. And it does also go to show you that when a club's run badly, things go wrong. I've been telling you guys this for a long, long time. When clubs are run poorly, things fall apart. When clubs are run terribly, things fall apart. Can't stress it more. Well-run clubs with the money that the Juve's, the monies that the Man Uniteds, the monies that the Chelseas have, do not fail on a medium to long-term basis. Don't fall away like this permanently. Boards don't all resign at the same time. Criminal charges not facing them. But the question is, would you take Vlahovic back? That's the question I've got for you. Would you, well, not back. Let me rephrase that. Would you take Vlahovic at Arsenal now? You have Gabriel Jesus, but you can definitely play Gabriel Jesus with another striker. That is plausible and doable. Locatelli may be a different option because the midfield needs to be improved. But Arsenal wanted both these players desperately. Arsenal made big moves for these players and weren't successful. But do Arsenal fans, do you feel like you've moved on from this? Or do you feel as though, actually, this is the right time to strike? We can end up getting these brilliant players for much cheaper than their valuations. We know they've only struggled at Juve because Juve have got problems. What do you think? I don't think it's funny is this, though. I would love to see, I kind of want it to happen. And I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the meeting room when the agent of Vlahovic and Vlahovic stand in front of Mikel Arteta. Remember, they ignored his calls. They didn't want to speak to him. They kind of strung Arsenal along to get Juve to bid. I wonder what that meeting would look like.
Thinking, you do not sack Tuchel for Graham Potter. That's just my opinion.
Kieran Dyer here on True Geordie's podcast. This is called Controversy, and I want to get your opinion on this, people. Potter coming in for the sack Thomas Tuchel. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings in the comment sections. Make sure like buttons are being smashed as well. Let's take a little bit more of a listen to what Kieran Dyer had to say.
I've spoke to people who have had Tuchel as a coach and they've had Potter as a coach. Obviously, I'm not going to name them. And they're just like, it's just like you cannot compare the two.
In what way?
Just knowledge of the game, tactics, just the way they are.
I'll ask it after the pod. I won't drop you in it.
So
when
and I also know people who have had Tuchel and then they've had other top managers and they go, trust me, Tuchel is fucking incredible.
But he lost his way at Chelsea. Is there a? Do you think that the players down tools and let him down?
But do you think that could be also the Americans are coming in and have started splashing the cash on 60 million for fullbacks from fucking?
I'll stop in there for a moment. The thing is, but Romans people were splashing lots of money on players for Tuchel as well. I don't think it's that. I think it's, of course, you're going to get this. And what Kieran Dyer has said, though, makes sense. We know there's problems in that Chelsea dressing room. We know there are players that are not bought into what Graham Potter wants to do because they weren't bought to Chelsea to play for Graham Potter. They were bought to play for Tuchel. Some were bought to play for Lampard. Some were bought in to play Sarri's style of football. When you mix and match your managers' philosophies, playing styles, and squads, very, very, very frequently over a 4 to 5 year period, you create a divided dressing room. This has always happened. This will continue to happen forever in football. There needs to be a consistent approach at board level, club level, a club style of play, club level of characteristics you want to have in players, and you recruit them and you bring a head coach in to manage that group. You don't bring a head coach in to build a team and a style and a philosophy in his image just to knock it down 18 months, 2 years later, and then let somebody else build their own image, and so on and so forth. Man United have been a prime example of doing this in the league over the past decade, and we've seen where they've ended up. So there's nothing that Kieran Dyer has said that is overtly wrong. But he's missing the wider point. Thomas Tuchel and the Bowley group were never going to work together. They have different ideologies and views. So I understand their point that they've gone from, in many people's eyes, a better manager to a worse manager. But this is about building something for the long term. And I still think people are missing that element with Chelsea. There's a percentage of Chelsea fans who think, well, in the past, we've just changed managers or bought a few new players and won the league or won the Champions League, so it's going to be the same. There are rivals that are like, well, there's no future here. You can't go from a top world-class manager to a very good manager and expect to progress. But you can. Because Chelsea Football Club, since 2014, since the playing fields were leveled financially, have only competed for a handful of Premier Leagues. They did brilliantly to win a Champions League. There's no doubt about it. But the level of trophies, the amount of finals, so on and so forth they've been in, from when everybody caught them up financially because of FFP and the new TV deal money in 2014, the amount of trophies they've won compared to the previous decade before that is night and day. It's night and day. They need a long-term sustainable plan, and they're at the beginning of that journey. It's going to take time. So I do still think when it comes to Chelsea, everybody is assessing them like low-hanging fruit. What's the easiest thing to get achieved? Right? Oh, if we buy these players and bring in this manager, we might win a couple of cups this year. But then in 18 months' time, you're back to where you were at the end of Tuchel's reign, back to where you were at the end of Sarri, back to where you were at the end of Antonio Conte. Football has progressed. You now need long-term projects at football clubs with consistency from your girls and boys team at under eight level right through to the first team, a complete club philosophy. Without that, you are not going to win as regularly as the big clubs with huge money that are doing it. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. I'm still surprised that nobody's talking about this in the game. It cannot just be me that sees this. It cannot just be me that notices this. We just spoke about Juve earlier on in the video. They start running things wrong behind the scenes. They start breaking laws, breaking rules, mistreating the club. At board level, the team starts to fail on the pitch, irrespective of how much money they've spent. The examples are countless. But yet fans want to ignore this. Ex-players want to ignore this. Pundits want to ignore this. It is, honestly, it's as clear as the nose on the end of my face that these be the issues. But I want your thoughts on what Kieran Dyer had to say and all the other clips that we played for you today and stories. Make sure you're hitting the like and the share button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you soon. Thank you.